Hey everybody, Andy here, aka Montolio, and we're back for our second Cradlevine League today. I've got this delusion that I'm going to somehow 5-0 two more leagues in a row today, but I'm going to take a stab at trying to get a 10 more QPs over the next 2 days so I can maybe get back into one of these LCQs. I actually have 30 QPs and have been sleeping over the last couple months, not playing any vintage really, and as a result, do not have that many QPs. But anyways, that said, we're going to take a stab at it and just finished a 5-0 with this deck. And this is similar to Canister's LCQ winning deck list from yesterday with the four main deck Bloodghasts. And my deck is just ever so slightly different than theirs. In the main, I think I just have an extra Beseiju. I'm not sure what card they have. Maybe it's a fourth Hex Drinker over mine. And in the sideboard, very similar to theirs this time. My sideboard was my own last league that I 5-0'd with, but I will try a little bit of their tech. They have the main deck Forest for obviously the initiative matchup, and they have archive traps. They have a couple of them and no biometric traps for Doomsday, obviously, and we are going to try at least one trap and the one forest as a substitute for our second Caracas and our Pithing Needle. And yeah, let's see what we can do with this. Once again, guys, appreciate you hanging out. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Feel free to leave any comments. I will try to get back to you. We'll see you around one. Okay, here we are in round one, and our opponent, well, we won the die roll here, which is great. Our opponent is typically a bizarre player by my experience. A little bit awkward here that we're going to have to get rid of 3 wastelands, but I think that's fine. We're just going to utilize our game plan. There's the other 2 wastelands and a strip mine. What does this do for us? Not really anything against them. So unfortunately, I think we have to mulligan this one. Can't keep that either. Okay, this looks good. I think Collect Roof is traditionally quite poor. I guess I'll dump the Force of Vigor here. Okay. And I mean, we're all presuming that they're playing Bizarre, but I've seen this player around a substantial amount, and they definitely are a Bizarre player. Well, I think we got to try and get a Vengevine going here, right? Like, that's just our game plan, is trying to win. And that's a pretty good start, I would say. What do I want more, the Yavimaya or the Mox? I think we want the Yavimaya, and the reason being is the presence of Force of Vigor out of their deck. And the Yavimaya does help us pump our root wall up. Like, winning the die roll here is pretty significant. It's not likely to be enough, but we're going to need to be a little bit lucky. And you never know. Maybe they are not playing Squee. They are not. Okay. Okay, so we are looking for a Beseiju. It's not there. We did not find a Beseiju. But what we did find is a Force of Vigor. The problem with Force of Vigor is it doesn't stop their Oath trigger from working. But we're still going to take the opportunity to try and do it. Maybe they have their old targets in hand. It is possible. They've got an Atraxa. So we can't really profitably get through the Atraxa in game one. Had we pitched the Vengevine, it is possible. And not like put the vine in my yard and had a chance of trying to reanimate it here. This was likely not a winning line doing it this way, but we do have some game against Oath, though. Do have the one Caracas here. Two bottom, okay. I am going to spin here. Okay. So we want the Caracas, and I do think we want some semblance of dismembers here. Hexdrinker is actually better than I gave it credit for in my previous league. Play because they're on Atraxa. Maybe I just don't want the dismembers. Let's try this out. I think this is reasonable. My opponent in our trophy match in the last league had Sarah's Emissary in their list, and they had it in their main deck, and it just stone cold got me in game one because I didn't have an answer to it. And until my opponent shows me that, I think on the play, I like to be proactive here and execute my own game plan. Perhaps I can keep in the extra Hexdrinker here over a Bloodghast. The Hexdrinker is just a way that we can get through Atraxa and hopefully deal lethal damage that way. But we have lots of good tools here. Yep. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn one Collector Roof here. If that doesn't resolve, then we have the Boseiju we can potentially set up. It's awkward because it will be my only green source that I'm shutting off with the Mox, but I think that's okay. The other option is what I could do is I could Bazaar, discarding this and two other cards, which I don't really like unless I'm hitting some good equity here. And then the following turn, we can hold up a Seiju. But I have a good chance of drawing a green land next turn, and I don't mind having the extra card in my hand. So I think I'm just going to cast the Collector Roof here. And this makes my opponent play a little bit more on the fair side of things. And we're going to have to likely Bazaar here. I am going to strip mine my opponent. With all likelihood. If I draw a Cradle, it's different. Okay, well that's pretty good for me. I don't think I play around Tabernacle. If they have it, it's not the worst thing for me. I mean, it's not great. I won't be happy about it, but it's not the worst either. Okay. I do think I need a bazaar again. Hmm. Not sure whether it's worth playing the bazaar here, but I'm going to do it anyways. It could be valued next turn as discard equity. And I don't think I have the option of spinning here again. Basically played that as a way to get my blood glassed into play to help apply a bit of pressure. And I have to hope my opponent does not have an Oath of Druids here. It puts me into a fairly desperate position if they have it. But, we need to play to our outs. And I think dealing damage is our best hope. Okay, that does not look like an Oath of Druids. Maybe they have an end step here or second main. Okay, they are tapping here. Yeah. So Oko, Oath, Needle. Yeah, Needle's going to be pretty tough on me too. They can also take Leyline. So yeah, my chances of winning here are fairly low. The show and tell really opens them up to another line. But if I can get my Vengevine going here this turn, like I am pretty much off of the Boseiju plan here now. We'll have to see. I'm just going to try and kill my opponent here. That's not bad. Let's spin. Have to hit here. The vine is not bad. What I'm going to do here is I'm really going to hope to hit a Root Walla. And I'm going to cast my Hex Drinker here. And we're going to spin our Bazaar, and we'll see if we can hit. And we didn't. That's unfortunate, because we had a pretty good chance of hitting a Root Walla there, I think, to get the double vines for the win. But now we're probably dead. Well, let's see. Like an Oath of Druids does not do it. It has to be show and tell into an Atraxa. Oko does not do it. So if they don't have a creature in their hand, we can win this game. Finding the Avamaya Cradle of Growth was nice there because it turned my Bazaars into being able to tap for mana. So a land brings back a Hasty Bloodghast. We can pump up our Hex Drinker for lethal and be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The question we need to ask ourselves is it worth just super churning in the upkeep to try and find Root Wallas? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is exactly lethal. Okay, that's a dead card. So, okay. So I guess they're going to turn off our oof by this line. No, they're just making a 3/3. So that does keep them alive. So let's get to our upkeep here. I mean, that's amazing that we get to untap here. If we draw a land off the top, we win because of the Root Walla. It's fairly low prevalence that we're going to hit 2 Root Wallas, but I do think we churn once. Okay, now I think we draw. Well, what's the likelihood we hit another one here? Not very good, right? And we definitely didn't find a land, which is bad. So I think we have to go for the Vengevine kill here now. We're locked. And we did get it. Okay. Really difficult as to whether we should have done it or not, but like a turn the double bazaar in the upkeep. All right. Nice win for us there. Not that probable, but I liked our turn 1 Collector Roof. I think the Hex Drinker is a little bit worse post board. I think something like this. I mean, we could bring a Pithing Needle for Oko. Let's try this out. See, if we find a Bazaar, this hand's pretty good. We do have Force of Vigor up. I'm going to gamble. I don't recommend doing this, guys. Hopefully they just pass turn here. We did hit a Bazaar. Okay. My opponent has had a very good start here. Lotus, Ancestral. We're going to be in some trouble without a doubt here. show and tell here is really scary. I'm going to put my Bazaar into play here. They can just Oath of Druids me here as well. Good news is they didn't find a Force of Will there. Not to tell them they don't have one in their hand. Very strong turn one, but we do have Caracas in our deck, guys. And I'm very likely to churn for it here, but let's see. We know they took a Sapphire, okay. They would have taken a Leyline. Doesn't look like they want to commit the Oath here. I am going to spin now. The only way I win here, guys, is I'm going to have to find some semblance of another creature and a Caracas off the top. Like it just that's where I'm at. Caracas does change the outlook of this significantly if I can find it. I had two of them specifically in my sideboard for Atraxa that I played over the weekend in the Vintage Showcase, and it never came to pass. I didn't run into Oath, really. Of course, there's lots of fringe reasons to run Caracas. Okay, that is not overly helpful. And let's get busy. Did not find Caracas. Digging. Makes sense. Okay, well, that's what I've got. Can't do much here. I don't think my opponent should have necessarily Force of Willed that, but what are you going to do? Now Oko comes down, or Oath for that matter. I think my opponent is feeling so secure. I could see them playing Oko here, but maybe they want Oath. Okay, that's just cocky. Yeah. Okay, well, this game looks to be over here. I guess Dismember could help me too, but the likelihood of any of my stuff resolving is fairly low. So Caracas is just the best piece of interaction for me. Now comes Oko. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, see if we find a Caracas. Well, this is over if we don't find it. Okay, guys. Not not the way we wanted that game to go, but a tough matchup, and we didn't find our sideboard card. It was only a singleton, so opponent just had a really broken turn one, and of course we're just highly unfavored in that type of a situation. So see you next round. Okay, guys, here we are in round two of our Vintage League with Cradlevine. We've won the die roll, and hand is not great, but Bazaar Baghdad can fix a lot of problems. I don't think we're asking for a lot, but why don't we just try and peel a Vengevine and a Hollow One? How does that sound? I think it sounds perfectly reasonable to me. I mean, not a bad second place prize. And that turns our Cradle on with a Boseiju next turn, which is pretty helpful. Yep, automaton. Not a bad turn. Gonna go again here. Get our guy back here. I do think I'm going to attack, because we can pump and do a whole bunch of blocks with Boseiju here. Or I can just kill it if I so choose to. Let's see. See if my opponent will use all their resources to get this, cast whatever it is they're going to cast and put the Shadow Spear on top of the Patchwork attack. And we can just, Pitting Needle, yep. I have to gamble that they're not going to name Boseiju, that they're just going to go for Bazaar here. It's a lot of damage coming through. Nice. I don't know. Maybe I want a pithing needle. I don't know. The forest doesn't really seem that good. Maybe cut. I don't know. Just blood gassed. Hex trigger is actually pretty decent. Yeah, I just have too many tools here. Dismember is solid. Maybe I just gamble on not using that needle. You know what? I don't want the misstep. Let's try this out. Yeah, the hand is a little loose. Like if we get our Bazaar turned off, our hand is really quite heavy on lands here that don't do anything currently, but we still have a once upon a time to fix us, and essentially our Bazaar Baghdad's going to really help us along here, but this is contingent on me being able to tap my Bazaar. Okay, looks like they're off to a good start. Kept their 7 Lotus in hand. Pretty scary. Boundary Inspector, yeah. Cage, yeah. Saga, yeah. Mox, yep. Oh, interesting. Okay, they just let me go about my business here. So in the upkeep, I'm going to kill the Inspector and the Urza Saga. They can keep their Grafdigger's Cage. And I do think I'm going to get rid of Vengevine here, because I'm not anywhere really near casting it. And the idea is next turn that I'm going to hopefully be able to cast a Collector Roof to be able to shut off their Mox here. And hopefully they have no play. Yeah, like if they Wasteland here, that's not bad for me. Yeah, great. Hmm. How badly do I want to play around Tabernacle? I think reasonably. I realize that the Collector Roof there shuts off their Mox next turn. They didn't do anything other than Wasteland me, but I think that's okay. And we'll give ourselves a tiny bit of insulation here. of Dismember. Yeah, okay. That's a little bit awkward, isn't it? But I love that cradle, but my Hollow One, for all intents and purposes, did their 4 damage last turn, because Dismember cost them 4 life, but okay, Wasteland, yep. I mean, they're buying time. Any cradle of Gaia's Cradle off the top is amazing. Okay. Ooh, that's a nice one, isn't it? That, however, was not a very nice draw. Okay, well, I didn't do anything last turn. They're down to 3 life here. They can cast a creature that blocks my Hollow One. Hopefully it's just a chump block, if that's the case. Yep, well, Ballista's actually a pretty good one for them because they can chump block and then shoot my Root Wall. The only way I circumvent this is if I find a green producing mana, which I didn't. But we're going to continue to pressure my opponent here, and I'm going to make them do that. Take a damage. It's possible I lose this game here. All right. Nice win for us there. We are 3-0 versus Workshops today. See you next round. Okay, guys, here we are in round 3 of our Vintage League. Easy powder for us there. Oh, this is a nice looking hand, though. Blazing Ruwala. Okay. This doesn't really tell us what we're playing against here. So I am going to cast an end of turn Once Upon a Time. I don't typically recommend this, but I don't want to turn on Mindbreak Trap should I have an opportunity to do that. Okay, so what do I like here? I think double Vengevine it has to be, right? Yeah. Okay, that's gonna. Yeah, we really do need to find a Hollow One to get the double vine going, but ooh, that's solid. So the risk I've taken in doing it this way is that if my opponent has a counterspell for my Black Lotus, it's not ideal because I won't be able to get my stuff back. And it does resolve. Okay. Okay, good start to our turn there. Now, of course, we'll see if we get wastelanded next turn, and we will do the same to them. with all likelihood anyways. We're going to plow in here. My opponent can trade with their hollow one here. I suspect they will, but they might not. Yeah. Okay, so we are playing against Squeevine here. They put a hollow one back on top. They have used a Noxious Revival, and we'll see if they were a little bit glib in using that. But we'll see. Okay, no Vine. Yeah. They do have a Wasteland. Okay. So they have two cards in hand. I guess the question I have here is, do they have another way to get their Bazaar back? We have to try. We are losing if they have it, but um, kind of feel like I have to try here. It's not ideal. And then you go. They do have it. Okay. So we're probably losing from here. This is one of the problems with Squeevine, and one of the reasons that I actually had two main deck endurance over the weekend of the showcase was specifically this deck and being able to address things like Noxious Revival. You know, if they didn't get that there, we're probably winning, right? But now we're kind of penciled into we need to find an answer to that Bazaar really quickly or a Cradle. Yeah, where was that a minute ago? Right. Well, my opponent is definitely winning here. Yeah. Now they have two. Now they have two squeeze. I don't want to concede quite yet because if I find a Bazaar of Baghdad or a Gaia's Cradle, I have a chance here that I can just rush my opponent with the double Vengevine or cast both of these off of Gaia's Cradle and bring in my vines back. So, I mean, we're not in great shape, but yeah, like that's what I'm talking about. This is like pretty powerful play for me. And my opponent can counter this. And I mean, almost assuredly, I'm getting wastelanded next turn, but I think I'm just going to put my opponent to the test here, guys. I realize that next turn, you're like, oh, wow, you can pump up your Hex Drinker and get it out of range. That is true. That is true. Okay, I'm glad I did what I did then. I wish I'm not going to attack with a Hex Drinker because I think it's very viable that I can put it up to a 4/4 pretty easily. And, you know, my opponent is getting into a position here where they're paying life with Master of Death. And yes, they're drawing a lot of cards, but I am starting to present close to lethal here. Okay, really nice win from us. I think that was highly improbable we were going to win there, but that's why we won 4 Gaia's Cradles. We drew one off the top, and exactly as we had suggested, if we could find one, we could cast 2 creatures in a Basking Root Wall and Collector Roof, 2 vines, and it was just enough to take over the game. And we get a lot better against this deck post-board. So we want all of these, and we want all of our endurances. Now, what don't we really want? I think Force of Vigor is pretty poor in general. But perhaps it's worth keeping a couple now because of the presence of Bloodghast in our deck. I don't think we need these. Like, these are specifically for Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale for me, or casting Collector Roofs. And we're not really interested in doing those either. So that said, I think I might just keep 3 of them in. This can not only remove Leyline of the Void, it also removes Hollow One in a pinch, and we can get rid of them if need be. So I think this is fine. Let's try something like this. I typically just side out all 4 of them because I'm just not worried about Leyline of the Void, but with the 4 Bloodghasts, I could see them being a game changer. I think I might keep this. This is a really risky hand to keep, but what it does have in it is has endurance and it's got wasteland and it got a way to stop my opponent. So as long as they don't go off turn 1 here, I think we have a fighting chance. Now we're looking for a Bazaar of Baghdad. Do not make a mistake here with this Once Upon a Time, and we could just outright lose to a really fast turn from my opponent. But we have Hollow One covered. We've got a quick endurance here if need be. They're down to 5. So if we could just fade them doing anything big here. Yeah, and this is unfortunately what I'm talking about. This is a big turn from my opponent. So we're going to Once Upon a Time here. Let's see if we can find a Bazaar. We did not find a Bazaar. So it's pretty bad for me. Going to take the Cradle of Growth here. And unfortunately, we do have to get rid of the Root Walla here, I think. Because if they find a Hollow One, it's pretty bad for me. So I'm going to do this. I mean, we're both pretty low on resources. Our plan kind of backfired, but we still have the tools at hand here that we were looking for. And specifically, we have Wasteland and Mental Misstep here, and we can potentially deal with a Hollow One at some point. The double Root Walla is a beatdown for sure, but if we're able to deploy our game plan at all here, we're going to be in decent shape. And if they lose their Bazaar here, I do believe we will be able to recover. Now, that's obviously a really bad draw for me. My opponent still has 3 cards in hand. We just have to hope that they don't have any more Bazaars in hand. Wasteland, okay. We drew a Bazaar. Yes. See if they have a counterspell here. Hopefully they don't. And I am going to try and surgical them here. I hope to God they have a Noxious Revival in hand. Okay, so we have a surgical for their Bazaar. And if this surgical does resolve, I do believe my opponent will concede. Okay, there you go. And this is one of the reasons why I have completely fallen out of love of Squeevine, is that the deck is just so linear, and that is completely reliant on Bazaar of Baghdad. And it did used to have a backdoor plan with playing Gaia's Cradles, which is a tech I instituted back a couple of years ago, but it's fallen completely out of favor. A player by the name of Jujubin, who won uh, Vintage Champs on Magic Online last year, is now the flavor that is in style. People have just moved away from the Gaia's Cradles, and the deck is having a whole bunch of success recently, and it's been hard for me to watch because for anybody who knows my history, I have put a lot of time into playing what's now called Countervine, Squeevine, and I just really have not liked playing the deck. It's been unenjoyable for me, strictly for that reason that your Bazaar gets killed, and it's very hard to win with the deck. So anyway, so just a little bit of history there, guys, and we're going to see you guys next round. Okay, guys, here we are for round 4 of our Vintage League with Cradlevine, and we just played this opponent round 1, I believe, and they are a workshop player. We did win the die roll. I don't think this is one we should keep. No. Very good mulligan for me. Okay. This deck, with reference to non-Bazaar hands and Once Upon a Time, is better than any other deck that runs Once Upon a Time because it is not reliant on Bazaar like other strategies. But if you're not doing that, you really need to have a good turn 1 plan. And typically that revolves around having Black Lotus and casting a turn 1 Collector Roof. And if you don't have that, the Mox in your hand, there has to be a really justifiable reason, like, you're playing against Dredge and you've got an Endurance in your hand with a Wasteland, or Force of Vigor up against an artifact deck or something like that. And that last hand I had was a depiction of, we did not have any answers that made sense there. Now, I don't know if my opponent is still playing Workshops, but my hand is pretty good here on this mulligan, so I'm happy with that decision making. Okay. Well, a little bit awkward, but I guess we're going to take the discard equity here and hope our Bazaar can clean us up a little bit. We do have some nice follow-up plays here. I do think we unfortunately have to ditch a Cradle here. This will allow us to cast a Collector Roof next turn or strip our opponent. So it's not optimal. We didn't have a great start there, but off a mulligan, I can't complain. Well, let's see how bad it is. I did think about the Beseiju there, but if they wasteland us, I think it's a win. That's probably the best case scenario here, as long as my opponent, of course, can't go off with fast mana, which looks like they can. So we could see a Sphere here into a wasteland, which is not great for us, but not the worst either. Like, our Collector Roof does get them pretty good with this line next turn. So the problem is that they play a Sphere, we cannot get the Collector Roof into play. That's the problem. Which is going to require me to play a Strip Mine and pass. Ooh, Academy, okay. Let's see what they got here. Inspector, okay. Is this the Sphere now? Soul Guide Lantern is just another card that we shut off here. And they do have the Sphere, okay. That's actually pretty good for us. They have a Soul Guide Lantern here, which they may crack. But the problem is I like all of these cards in my hand. But I think it's worth it. If they want to use it, I think it's reasonable. They let it go. That's really good for me, because that's going to allow me next turn to cast the oof. I'll take this land away and see what happens. I can understand my opponent not being scared of the Bloodghast, but they have to realize that it turns on my Chaos Cradle in my hand. Okay. They have 3 mana here, ostensibly with the Foundry Inspector in play. So they could cast us something like a Nettle Cyst here, which could be problematic. But let's just hope they pass turn here. Ballista would suck. Metamorph, okay. Just another sphere? That's pretty reasonable. Puts me in an awkward spot. Okay. I think I wasteland their Saga and pass. They want to trade here and use their Soul Guide Lantern. It's not the worst for me. I mean, this is awkward. I'm really wanting to use the mana here, but I can't in right mind let them have an Urza Saga get going here if I can prevent it. I am also flirting with getting wastelanded here, but that's far more preferable than wastelanding my Cradle at this stage. These are all high equity cards in my hand. Okay. All right. If I can somehow ever get this Collector Roof into play, my goodness. Can't block. It's an interesting attack because they're quite a bit behind in the race. Hopefully they pass here, guys. I had to play my Besaijo out in order to facilitate one of these Collector Roofs coming in. Yep. Ballista's pretty good. Okay, they left me alone. And so this is a pretty devastating oof for them. Yeah. That's the worst one they could have killed because it comes back, right? I mean, maybe they're just worried about the damage at this stage in the game, which is not unreasonable. We are in a race here. Yeah, now I'd hold them back. I am going to spin. Did not hit a land, sadly. I could not animate the vine, right? If I discard it, I have to tap my Gaia's Cradle. I'm floating one to bring it into play, but this costs 2. I could actually cast this. I'm going to wait. Against my better judgment, I'm going to wait. It's a bit of a greedy line, but I really would like to get that Vengevine going if I could. Okay, there we go. Let's see if we can find a land here, guys. I think the Bazaar has served its purpose here. We were going to get 2 Bloodghast back there. Yep, all right, that was a nice win. Try this out. What does this do for me? I've got a Force of Vigor up. This is a gamble. If I find the Bazaar, it's a magnificent hand. If I don't, automaton, yeah. This is a really sketchy keep on my part. But this is what I was talking about, like some of the unnecessary or some of the necessary pieces I need in order to enable my game plan without a Bazaar. I do have a Force of Vigor available to me at some point in time, despite I'm going to come off it for this Once Upon a Time because it's integral that I find a land that does tap for mana or the Bazaar. But I will eventually draw into a green card. I've also got a Strip Mine to take them off something like this. So Grafdigger's Cage is not that great of a card against me. So the cage is in. And they have the Mox to keep going. Yep. Soul Guide Lantern, which is redundant. I mean, the bigger issue here is they're getting a nice big Patchwork Automaton going, which is going to get out of range of Dismember. That's more my worry than anything. Okay, there's a green card that will turn on our Gaia's Cradle. So let's see if we can find a Bazaar. We did not. And we actually did not do well at all. We found a Boseiju. So this is a little bit disheartening. But I do think that we have to be aggressive here and take them off this and just take our medicine for a couple turns here. This was a gamble that we made, really trying to find a Bazaar with a backup plan, being that we can hard cast our stuff. But this is a situation that where it may backfire. I'm not necessarily keen to pitch my Force of Vigor here. I think I have to do it now. That's just too tempting, and I don't want to give them the extra mana. That's just too tempting to do that. And yeah, I'm in a bad spot here, but we've got the top of our deck to help smooth things out. And I do have some number of turns here if this is all they do. And it turns out that that's the case. Okay, Boseiju is not optimal. But if we have to in an emergency next turn, we can tap our Boseiju, play another Boseiju, and cycle Hollow one, trying to find a Bazaar. But we're really looking for a land that taps for mana here. Okay. Suboptimal. See if they just burn their Soul Guide here, and they certainly should. Okay, next turn, if they don't wasteland us, we have Hollow one we can cycle. And that way we're moving much closer to being able to do something with our Dismember here on this creature. It's going to require some luck. We are running out of time. And Dismember is, of note, almost dead in our hand here. Oh. All right. Well. Bazaar? Wasteland. Okay. What if I chump block here? Yeah, play this out. And the reason I do that is if I chump block here and they don't make this bigger than a 5/5 this turn, I can chump block and then I can kill it next turn. I do lose my ability. Ooh, that's not good. Yeah, that's pretty bad for me. It can't get bigger than a 5/5 right now. Do I just die to the Inspector? They didn't wasteland. All right, that's what I got. We played to our outs, and we got ourselves in a lot of trouble as a result of what would be a keep that did not work out, but we're still alive. A ballista changes that. Mm-hmm. We kind of need a Bazaar here. That's just what we need. Okay. Okay, I like this. Because they're very heavy on graveyard hate, I'm going to just lower my blood gas count a little bit. Let's see if we can sneak another one out here. Yeah, we'll powder that. It's pretty good. Like, Once Upon a Time. Collector Roof, Wasteland, like... I don't know. This is pretty awkward. I'm going to keep it. Triple Hex Drinker and double Blazing. Interesting. Well, I mean, if we can find a Cradle, a Gaia's Cradle, any Cradle would be satisfactory, but a Gaia's Cradle would be superior given the way our hand is set up here. But let's find a Vengevine and a Gaia's Cradle. How's that sound? Okay, my opponent mulliganed to 5. We went to 6. I'm going to play the Baskings here because the Basking can be pumped up by green mana sources. Now, the issue we have here is that we did not find a second land, and getting wastelanded here could be a bit rough for us. So this is a situation we're looking to be able to use our Bazaar again. Yep. Yep. Pretty good start. Yep. All right. I mean, they're down to 1 card here. Okay. Not optimal, but I mean, it's functional. We're going to get our Hex Drinker into play here and animate a Vengevine. They did not hit our Bazaar last turn, so hopefully they don't have a Wasteland. Okay, so they use that. And your turn. They cannot attack profitably right now. Ooh, that's a scary one. That's a card that could blow things open, but the good news is I'm going to get to use my Bazaar again next turn. And if we can find a Gaia's Cradle, this is likely going to be it for us. Okay. We did not. We did not. This is really unfortunate. Gonna have to pass turn, guys. This is where it gets dangerous. I really have to hope that they're not able to use their Urza Saga here, and that they're just going to pass turn here. I don't mind if they cast a creature. Okay, so that was kind of the worst case scenario for me, because now it puts me in a position where I'm going to have to deal with these Saga tokens. All right, here goes. We bricked, guys. Oh no. We bricked. Not too often this happens to me. But it is really bad because I'm about to lose my Bazaar. Well, I think I need to give up the dream on the... on the bazaars right now. I'm just going to pump this up to a 4-4. Yeah. I could like trade with both of these, which is not the worst. Maybe I just do that. Maybe I just offer up a trade. I can kill both their. Oh no, I can't. It's cast. Okay, so this would be a 1-2-3. Yeah, it's not even profitable for me. I can just trade with a Saga token. All right, just is what it is, and probably going to get pithing needled on my bazaar, which is pretty much the worst thing that could be happening for me outside of a tabernacle. My opponent is playing aggro shop, so we're not as likely to see a tabernacle in their list. But yeah, we're in a pretty tough position here. We've had several spins of my bazaar. Yeah, there's the pithing needle. So that makes this really hard for me. We need to draw a Gaia's Cradle off the top, and if we get a Gaia's Cradle, we have a chance. But we're in a pretty bad spot right now. Like these construct tokens are. Oh, did not expect to see a cruiser coming through here. Yeah, it's kind of Gaia's Cradle or bust right now. I guess Force of Vigor would fix this up really good too. So much damage, yeah. I think I can block one of them right now because Gaia's Cradle will still allow me to handle what's going on here. So Gaia's Cradle or Force of Vigor. This is what I'm looking for. Yeah. All right, I think we're pretty much dead here. I guess a Force of Vigor does keep me around next turn. I can just animate their fleet wheel. And any artifact they cast makes their constructs bigger. Oh yeah, that's just horrendous. I mean, I think they just attack with everything here. Pretty much kills me. I will say this much. It's very rare that happens to me where I cannot find one of my cradles. I've only burned one of each out of 30 cards. Like, I've seen half my deck. Yeah, wow. Okay. They don't have a Blist in hand. I just take it. Put me to 2. I mean, I think it was really greedy for them not to attack because if I draw a Force of Vigor here, that could be bad for them. All right. I don't think I pumped my Hex Drinker up. Maybe I do. Like a Sphere coming down is unfortunate because it forces my hand. Oh, they put this on Hex Drinker. I have not been tapping my Bazaar. Oh my goodness. Gonna do it. Yeah, that's pretty much the best case scenario here. hard cast it and get a Vegemite back. Okay, I'm still in this game, guys. I am so embarrassed. I just thought my opponent put that on Bazaar of Baghdad, not on Hex Drinker. That was just a blatant error on their part. Now, of note, I am at 2 life here. Like, this is not optimal, right? So, I could remove 2 of these. Put them to the task on the 4/4. Say they block that. They take 2. That's 6, 7, 10, 13, putting them to 1 if they blocked a 4/4. Okay. I'm going to pass turn and see if I can set them up next turn. I mean, they have to telegraph here that I've got a force of vigor. I just hope they don't wasteland me here. Yep. So here's an interesting line, guys. What if I kill this and I kill the fleet wheel? Right, this is like a 5/3. I actually could kill the nettle cyst, and this will be a 5/3. And then I can just pump it. Pump my 2 root wall as double block. And then I make this thing Super Saiyan and come back in for the win. Right? I've got 8 mana. I can take 1 damage from them. Right? Is that how I'm doing it? Yep. Okay. Can't really profitably kill them here. They could block 1, 2, 3, and they're going to take 6. Right? 1, 2, 3. And then they would take 6, 7, 8, 9. That doesn't kill them. So I think I just, oops, yep, sit back here. Okay, let's get in. They can attack me here, and it puts me in an awkward position, but I still have some good chump blockers here. They have cards off the top, like Ballista, that could just kill me or something like that, but I've got to play to my outs here. They're just going to cycle this immediately. I do win here next turn if they can't kill me here. Okay, really nice win for us. A little bit of a mishap there with reference to not realizing the pithing needle was on Hex Drinker, but that said, we did play to our outs. Our opponent was not aggressive when they should have been. It would have led to a concession almost assuredly. We did top into what we were looking for in Force of Vigor and Gaia's Cradle, and it changed the math of the match. It ended up working out well for us that we did not tap our Bazaar proactively there. Anyways, guys, that was a great win for us. We'll see you next round. Okay, guys, here we are in round 5, and we've run into Ciolfo, who is a PO player. And I don't think this is a hand we can keep. Well, as a matter of fact, I know it's not a hand we can keep. We have double Force of Vigor, which is pretty good, but I don't think that's where we want to be. I want to be a little bit more proactive. I do think I will keep this one. I'm reliant on finding a Bazaar of Baghdad, but I think that's okay. Blood Gas back. It's a bad hand, to be sure. It's pretty much we're going to auto lose here if we don't find a Bazaar. Very nice. Okay. I mean, my opponent may have Flusterstorm here, but we're going to be wastelanding almost assuredly immediately. I am going to, once upon a time, to see if I can bait to Flusterstorm out of their hand. Oh boy, that's awful, guys. All right. And we're going to end their upkeep. We're going to try and Force a Vigor them. And this could be really nice for us if it works. What's unfortunate here is they're likely getting an Ancestral. Tinker. Okay, if they don't have a Flusterstorm here, guys, we are going to get them really good. Yep, let's hope. Oh, they do. Oh, guys, come on. They can't tinker this turn because we know they're drawing a tinker. But anyways, that was pretty good. We draw Force of Vigor off the top. It's going to work. So close, yet so far. Ugh, guys. All right. If they tinker into the key and pass, we got a chance. But they're probably just going to tinker into Time Vault here, is my guess. Oh, they have the kill. Okay. And then we'll make them tinker here first, just to make sure. All right, almost. We almost got that one. Oh, that's funny. Don't really have any tools for this particular match. All right. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we got put a bizarre away here. Um, I'm not going to hollow one here because I don't think it's good enough to beat what my opponent is doing. I have to hope that next turn I'm able to get the vines coming back with it, and we will recoup the 4 damage we lost by not playing it this turn if that's the case. Now, this is a little bit risky. My opponent has a Pithing Needle here or something with counter magic. It could be bad for me. Yep, Ancestral, okay. Just time walking. I'm not going to use my Force of Vigor here. And let's see if we can hit. Hopefully they don't have Hull Breacher. It's not a luxury that I have to play around. This does work because what we do is first let's see if I can get a hollow one into play. This brings back my Bloodghast. And this allows me to cast my trump card, animating my 2 vines. And if this trump card resolves, which it does, it's really big game. And there we recouped our damage. All right. Huge, guys. If we can untap and hold up Force of Vigor, well, I mean, we have them lethal. Okay. So that was a blowout. I'm just surprised my opponent didn't have anything else going there. Is there anything else we want to do here? Maybe bring in a Pithing Needle. I really am liking these Bloodghasts. Maybe I can just take out a Hex Drinker here and try this. A little bit more defensive with the Pithing Needle. Okay. I've not kept a 7 this match. They keep their 7. We're going to mulligan. This is a really nice looking hand. The only thing missing is a Force of Vigor. Um, we have double Vine this turn. No, if they have a Pithing Needle here, we're just gonzo. We have to hope they have a fair hand. Interesting. Thoughtseize against me. Guess they take my hollow one, or they take the Collector Roof here. The reason I put away the Cradle here instead of the Collector Roof is if I draw a Yavimaya Cradle of Growth, it allows me to still cast a Collector Roof. And the percentages of finding my 3 Cradles, Gaia's Cradles, or 4 or 2 Yavimaya Cradles Growth outweighs percentage-wise us drawing one of our 3 Collector Roofs that are left in the deck. I hope that makes sense. I think we have a higher percentage of hitting one of our Cradles to be able to enable casting the Collector Roof versus drawing another Collector Roof if we discard it. There are 2 more Cradles in my deck, so they are scared of the Collector Roof here. Uh-oh. They got Tinker. Turn 1 Tinker. Amazing. I couldn't have interacted with that anyways. So the Thoughtseize was good from that perspective, because if I did have a Force of Vigor or a Mindbreak Trap in my hand, it would have probably killed them here. But as it turns out, it looks like we're going to be the ones dead. Now, what they need to be careful of here is that I do have a turn 1 Blazing Root Wall. They could also just go and get a Pithing Needle, and that buries me really badly too. But they put themselves at risk of me drawing a top deck Force of Vigor that way. No, I think they're just showing off. Did they make a mistake there? I mean, I'm sure they can still punish me severely here, but did they just go and get an Ancestral now? They can't currently Tinker. Now, they do have 1 unknown card in hand, but yeah, the Ancestral. Yeah, I mean, I feel like my opponent misplayed that somewhat. Okay, let's hope we can get our vines going here, guys. They are. I can only get one of them going. That's okay. That's okay. We take what we can get, right? Like next turn, if we draw a Cradle, we still have pretty decent discard equity in one of our Collectors and our Vine, and we have a chance. Like if we find a Gaia's Cradle, like I mean, I can only imagine what my opponent has in hand here still. Like, I think we're in pretty bad shape, but we shouldn't have really survived there, in my opinion. Just give a little pause here. Make my opponent think about picking them up, but they have to realize that they could be dead here next turn. So okay, guys. I mean, let's do it here. Gaia's Cradle, Force of Vigor. Oh no! That was pretty rough. Okay. My big trap offers me some safety, but it's not obviously what I want. We do have our opponent dead next turn, so op agent. I mean, that's great for me. Obviously, I wish I was dealing damage here, but like any cradle off the top is just so good. They just used a dismember here, which they. Oh, interesting. Okay. Preventing damage. That is a positive for me that they're doing that. I just want a cradle so badly off the top. Any cradle. All right. I'm just going for it, right? Am I? I think I just win right here. Oh, I missed, guys. That was maybe greedy. I hope I don't get punished for that. All right. Well, we're at our opponent's mercy here. They did find something that looks like. Is this a citadel? The PO. Oh, I'm so incredibly disheartened. Sphinx is like a nice one. I got to keep this in play because of the presence of Beseju. We have how many vines in the yard? I maybe through that one being a little bit too Voyager, getting my hopes up that I was going to be able to get my Vengevines going and just win the game right there. But there's no way my opponent could have done anything there. But yeah, it was a nice play by them. We're going to have to get lucky here. Okay, that's pretty good. That's really good. Can we hit again? We did. It's 3 Vengevines coming back. Is that enough? It's close. It's close. Not quite, but it's close. I have to go for it. Right? They block one. I go 4, 8, 4, 8, 9, 10. They go up to 18. I hit them for 12, 13, 14. Yep. It turns my Bloodghast on next turn too. Like if I find a Gaia's Cradle, this will put them up to 9. Oh, they're on topping. That's smart. PO here is scary. Okay. Gaia's Cradle, I believe, does it here. If we had one more Bloodghast, let's see, how close do we get here? We are able to pump. If I hit a Vengevine and another creature, it's pretty decent. All right, so what is this? I can hit for 2, 5, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16. That is exactly lethal. May as well try for the extra Vengevine here. Okay. Is that exactly lethal, guys? I mean, regardless of whether it is or not, I'm going. I think that's it. See how my math turns out. All right, guys, there you have it. A nice, clean 4-1. This deck just feels really good to me. These Bloodghasts are really putting it over to the edge. I think that my opponent actually had the win last game. They had a turn 1 Tinker. I guess they were just paranoid of turn 1 tinkering into, into a Citadel or a Sphinx for fear that I was going to be able to kill it with Force of Vigor or Boseiju. And I don't know. I think they miscalculated when they went for the Yogg Will and they put themselves into having to Ancestral, which they could have done with the first Demonic Tutor should they have chosen to do that. I don't know what they were doing, but almost assuredly I was dead there. And yeah, I give them credence for hard casting the Sphinx. They may have had that in their hand as to why they didn't go for it. But that said, I will take those type of wins. That was very, very razor thin close, and this deck performed really well. We're currently 9-1 with it today, and we just took a heartbreaker to the Squeevine deck, and other than that, we've been beaten everything else. So once again, guys, appreciate you hanging out. Hit that like and subscribe button for me, please. I do appreciate it. I'm trying to get up to 1,000 viewers. I've never really taking YouTube too serious. I just put it out there for your pleasure, but I guess that's what it takes to monetize my videos, and may as well make a couple pennies off of this while I'm doing it. So it is appreciated, and we'll see you next time, guys.